Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, AMC Stock had a pitiful day today, down over 4%. Now, the situation that we are faced with ahead is a simple one, and we'll talk about it here in this video. AMC has the possibility of going bankrupt. I think everyone knows this, right? I think this does not come as a surprise. There's a clear and obvious way to avoid this. Adam Aron and AMC have a choice. They do. They do have a choice. They can avoid this if they want to. It does not look like they want to avoid bankruptcy. It actually looks like Adam Aron wants AMC to go bankrupt, and maybe that's what he wants his final straw to be in the AMC legacy. We'll talk about that here in this video. Now, if AMC does not go bankrupt, if Adam Aron does the right thing by shareholders and by AMC employees, well, AMC won't go bankrupt. And AMC will thrive. AMC will be able to pay off all of their debt, or at least a good chunk of their debt. AMC stock will rally, and we will all make some tendies. But I just want to be honest. There's a chance that Adam Aron does not want that to happen. There's a chance Adam Aron wants AMC to go bankrupt. And this is all down to a numbers game, right? This is... I mean, I don't feel so fondly towards Adam Aron as I used to. So definitely there's that emotional aspect. But this all really comes down to numbers, right? It's all a numbers game. And you should never let your emotions dictate your investment thesis. Because after all, it's only numbers. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about the data coming out tomorrow morning and how that could move our markets and really set us up for what could be a pretty ferocious rally in our markets or continued weakness. I think there's two things the markets need right now in order to rally even more aggressively, okay? Because I think markets want to rally. I think people want to be in stocks. But when you just seen the last 60 days of our markets give you over a year's worth of returns, a couple of years worth of returns during, not so great years, yeah, there's going to be a cooling off period. And I think you're going through that. And I think there's clearly a path forward. So let's get into the rest of this information, guys. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, first things first, AMC stock could go bankrupt. Yes, that's an obvious fact. I think you guys know that. I don't think that is a surprise. If that catches you by surprise, then you probably should not be investing your dollars in our markets. If you're totally surprised by the fact that AMC could go bankrupt, you should probably look at your portfolio and say, what am I doing, right? Totally reevaluate things. Because, AMC's always had the chance of going bankrupt. But as the stock has been at super low prices recently, more specifically here today, hitting a new multi-year low, currently at $5.33 per share, down about 4.5% again on the day today, it's not going to be very long before AMC stock is $2 per share at this rate. Now, why do I say AMC is going to go bankrupt? Well, AMC can do funny accounting, they can refinance, they can extend maturities a little bit to some degree. Some maybe not. If creditors don't want to let AMC do that, well, then they won't be able to. And some of their debt firmly will be coming due in 2026. A good chunk of their debt will come due in 2026. A couple, like $2 billion or so. Now, why does that mean AMC could go bankrupt? Potentially by 2026. Because if AMC, mark my words, if AMC cannot get the stock price to go up, AMC will go bankrupt. That's because mathematically speaking, that's a definitive, right? AMC has $9 billion of total debt. About $5 billion of which comes due in the next couple of years. 2026 has a big maturity, and then I believe it's 2028, 2029 that has the next large round of maturities. But 2026 is the first problem, I guess, if you will. Now, AMC has close to $1 billion worth of cash in the bank, but that's only going to go so far when, they're still funding their operations. And technically they have been profitable 2 quarters in a row, but it's only like $10 million, $15 million. It's not, that's not going to do anything for paying off, billions of dollars worth of debt. AMC ultimately just needs to pay off good chunks of their debt. They have to be able to pay off a majority of their debt in the not so distant future, right? 2026 is going to creep up very quickly. Now, currently AMC can issue about 300 million shares. They're never going to be able to issue more than 300 million additional shares from here. Shareholders, I mean, that's it. That's all you got. 300 million shares, which is a lot. That still would like 2x the flow again over, right? So it is a lot. But as AMC stock is now almost in the fours, I mean, if they did max dilution right now at $5 per share, which by the time funding was actually secured, it'd probably be like $4.50 per share. They would in total collect about 1.35 billion, not even close to paying off all of their debt. Not even close. That would essentially assure that AMC would go bankrupt. And again, if AMC raised like 300 million shares worth at this point, AMC stock would be less than $1 per share. The stock would probably get delisted anyways, so you'd lose all your money whether or not AMC went bankrupt or not. So yeah, that's where you come into a problem. If AMC cannot get the share price up and they cannot dilute shareholders at higher prices, even $15 per share looks a lot better than, $4 per share. At $15 per share, if AMC issued all 300 million shares around that price of $15, some above, some lower, they would raise about $4.5 billion. It's not the $9 billion they need over the longer term, but if they were able to erase some, $4.5 billion worth of debt right now, they would be in a much better position. And then you add that maybe to the, $1 billion or so they have in the bank, and, they could be looking good, right? Maybe pay off $4.5 billion, have $1 billion in the bank. But if AMC stock never gets back to 10, 15, not even 10, 10's not going to do it at this point. 15's really not even going to do it at this point. AMC, Adam Aron, needs the stock to get into the 20s again, really to solidify the probabilities of being able to pay off their debt, especially debt that comes mature in 2026, right? And AMC is not going to go bankrupt next quarter or next year. It might take a couple years. But as you get closer to bankruptcy, it becomes harder for AMC stock to actually make a rally. So for anyone that's investing in AMC for potential gains in equity prices, in AMC's equity, I mean, it's just not going to happen the closer you get to bankruptcy. And every time you get dilution at $4, $5 per share, the markets say, what are you doing, Adam Aron? Like, Adam Aron just diluted 1% of the total amount of shares they can outstanding, and paid off like $20 million worth of debt, $22 million worth of debt, which is a drop in the bucket. It's really not doing much for AMC's financial situation at all. Like, literally nothing. Nobody looks at that and says, yeah, AMC's a better buy now. No. AMC has a better prospects of avoiding bankruptcy. No. Just 1% of the outstanding float that can be sold short, 300 million shares. AMC just diluted 3 million shares. And the stock, by a consequence of that, is down about 13% in 2 days. Going from, the $6 range, $6.40 or so on January 2nd, now down to $5.35 per share at the time of recording this video. There's one obvious move that AMC and Adam Aron can do. And I implore you to spread this message far and wide. If you want to see the MOAS, this has to happen. There is no other ifs, ands, buts, or questions about it. This has to happen. You have to see Adam Aron commit to not diluting shareholders. And I know it sounds backwards. You're like, I'm saying AMC needs to get the share price up to $15 or $20 to dilute shareholders to inevitably avoid bankruptcy. And maybe dilution $15, $20 per share would actually be seen as a positive thing, right? Fundamentally speaking. And, markets might actually like that at least a little bit. But not at these prices. And at these prices, AMC stock is has a 100% chance of going bankrupt. It's not a question, right? This is not up for debate. I'm not asking you for your opinions here. Post them down below in the comment section if you would like. But if Adam Aron cannot get AMC stock up from here, if AMC is destined to stay in the 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, AMC is going bankrupt. If AMC stock stays less than $10 per share, AMC stock is going bankrupt. Now, what does that mean? If you are an investor here, you're buying shares at $5 per share. That means odds are Adam Aron will wake up at some point. Maybe it's not this month. Maybe it's next month. Maybe it's in March. He'll wake up and he'll say, crap. Probably lawyers or someone advising him what to do would say, if you don't get AMC's share price up and you continue to dilute shareholders, one, the stock's going to continue to fall. But if you can't dilute shareholders at higher prices, buddy, I mean, AMC's going bankrupt. Like, there will be no AMC left. There will be a shell of a company that is in bankruptcy restructuring that, I mean, everyone's going to lose all their money. Who knows if he cares about that at this point, right? I don't think he really cares about that at this point. But, I mean, that's just not good for your legacy as well if you directly drove your company into the ground. I mean, that's just not going to look good in the history books, okay? So, yeah, that is kind of my thoughts about it. I really don't think this is up for debate. AMC, at this point, they cannot dilute shareholders anymore. Not to say they won't. They might. And if they do, expect AMC stock to fall into the 4s and then into the 3s. And then just remember, every day we go ahead, go forward, that Adam Aron does not try to get AMC stock price up higher. Not just because you'll make money. That's just a benefit. But because if they don't, they won't be able to pay off their debt when they do have to raise capital and pay off their debt when the debt comes mature in 2026, they will go bankrupt. So what that means for you right now, if you are buying the stock at $5 per share, is you're probably going to make some money. I want to give Adam Aron the benefit of the doubt, even though he's done some very questionable things in the past. Very questionable things in the past, like sending little nudies to ex-girlfriends when you're married. Yeah, that's a little questionable, okay? Very questionable. And it makes me wonder if this will happen at all. But you would think that that this would at least be a thought process. And if you're buying AMC stock right here at $5, odds are, I want to say odds are good, although I don't know, you will get a commitment to not dilute shareholders. Maybe it's for the second half of 2024. That maybe looks like a better time to do that now, given it's going to take a while for the markets to get some clarity whether or not we're heading into a recession, how earnings are shaping up to be for the S&P 500, where valuation should be, the economic data, and to try to fit that narrative. So either Adam Aron says we're not going to get dilution for the first half of 2024 or the second half of 2024. Those would be great announcements, and I think those announcements, either the first half, second half, would spark some pretty aggressive rallies in AMC. If it does not, then yeah, we have a bigger problem on our hands than even what I'm talking about here. Now, as far as what's going on in the markets, what you need to know for tomorrow, and kind of just where we are at. So we got the ADP employment change today. I went over this earlier. You had a beat here, a big beat, 164,000 job ads. Expectation was 115,000 job ads. Now, coming tomorrow, you're going to get the non-farm payrolls that will be coming out. This is the big one. Now that ADP beat, the estimates actually went up for non-farm payrolls. Now the estimate is 170,000 job ads. And the last month was 199,000 job ads. I personally think we're probably going to come in around 170, maybe 160, maybe 180, but around this range. Would it surprise me if we came in higher than even 200,000, given, the seasonal hiring in December? It would not surprise me. I would not be super surprised by that. But that is that's definitely something we want to be watching for. The higher, the better, right? Anything like 120 and lower is going to start to be seen as negative and could start some recession fears as people are like, hey, couple more months of non-farms and we could be negative. We could be rolling into recession. That's not going to be good for stock prices. Now, coming tomorrow, you're also going to get the unemployment rate. We're expecting that to jump to 3.8% from 3.7% currently. I think this, in conjunction with the non-farm payrolls will be important. Like, let's say, for an example, we come in at like 80,000 job ads. That's going to be really negative. And let's say if the unemployment rate rises to like 3.9 or 4%, that's going to be really bad. But let's say non-farms come in at 100,000, 120,000, and the unemployment rate goes down. They might offset each other just a little bit. So that's something we definitely want to be watching for. We're going to have government payrolls, manufacturing payrolls, non-farm payrolls, private, all of that data, secondary data really coming out, average hourly earnings, year over year and month over month. Some of that will be important, but really non-farms, what's the net job ads, or hopefully not loss, for the month of December? What's the unemployment rate? Those are the two big data points. And then we will be getting ISM Services PMI. That comes out at 10 o'clock in the morning. This non-farms data, all of the other data comes out at 8:30 in the morning. But you do have ISM Services PMI at 10 o'clock in the morning. This is Eastern Standard Time, by the way. And you're actually expecting that to tick down to 52.6. That would be good news because really, I mean, that's the only place you're really seeing inflation now is still a little bit in core services ex housing and housing itself. So to see ISM Services PMI come down, that would be a little bit of good news. Now, just a kind of brief run through of where the Ortix data looks like as well. Go ahead and refresh this page. We do have 5 orders totaling $971,000 worth of hedge fund and institutional option activity today. About 69% of the volume has been to the call side, and about 31% of the volume has been to the put side today. You do have a short interest of free float, 8.56%, $120 million worth of short positions currently in AMC. Days to cover 1.05, 21.45 million shares currently sold short. Shares out on loan, 19.92 million. Cost to borrow, 1.08%, 28.61% utilization, and 52.99 out of 100 for the short score. So nonetheless, let me know what you guys think about this information down below in the comment section. It looks like AMC stock might just be falling into the 4s soon. And if we get more dilution, it could get even worse than that. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.